The next member is Honorable Swart.
Thank you, Chair, and I just want to join my colleagues in thanking the new board members and the executive for their work, and it's not something that I would easily accept either. So I would really appreciate what you are actually dealing with is a legacy of many years of corruption and mismanagement that we have seen as part of our inquiry and that has characterized the SOEs and in particular Eskom over the last few years, and we are fully aware of that. So when we ask questions, it's against the background that we appreciate the work that you are doing to restabilize Eskom and to recover the losses. Now, can I just ask you on that issue? You know it's an issue that I raised continually. I raised it with the last board, the recovery of the McKinsey amount, and I'm very pleased that it is now being eventually repaid. They offered to pay, when was it, last year sometime before this committee? So you indicated 1 billion had been paid, but according to other reports it was 900 million and there was 300 million outstanding interest. So I'd like to know where the figures are at the moment. I look forward to the outcome of that court case in December, and I wish you well with the recovery of the 600 million with trillion. But that's just the start, because you, as directors, are fully aware of the provisions of the Companies Act, where you've got breaches of fiduciary duties that we've experienced. There are enough reports. You can hold those directors personally liable. I would ask you to give us an update. And I appreciate you've got so much to do. This might be on the back burner. But you're in a cash crisis. There's nothing to prevent you bringing applications to hold those directors personally accountable for the losses incurred for breaching their fiduciary duties. That's the first issue. The second issue, where I asked previously, and you indicated this process was ongoing, and that is bringing applications to have those directors declared delinquent directors in terms of Section 162 of the Companies Act. We cannot allow this to continue, that we have board members moving around, and that is what we saw. We saw board members moving from Transnet to Eskom to continue the work, or the looting and the plundering. So I fully appreciate, Mr. Radebe, this might not be at the top of your list, but it is something that needs to be attended to, particularly if you can recover. Now, the third issue is recovering where that money is at the moment. A lot of the money is sitting in Dubai. And we passed the extradition treaty last week. We signed it in Parliament. We passed the mutual assistance treaty. I appreciate that it's beyond your control. But, Chair, I've said it before and I'd emphasize it again. We need to bring the Hawks and the MPA to this committee to give us an update of what they are doing. I am not satisfied, Chair. When I get briefings in the Justice Committee, they're still dealing with the Estina matters. They haven't even started dealing with the Eskom issues. The evidence is there. The money is being moved around in bank accounts, and we've got to get an update, because the board made it very clear, Mr. Radebe made it very clear, they've done what they can, they're cooperating, but it is beyond their control when it comes to actual arrests. And it is disgraceful that today there's still been no arrests, Chair. No arrests, when we know the evidence, the prima facie evidence that's been in the public domain since the Public Protector's report way back, and still we see no action in that regard. So, Chair, then I'd just like to issue, we appreciate the issue of the coal stocks, but the one briefing we got is we had a surplus capacity. Now we appreciate we are in a different dimension. There's load shedding. And I was going to ask about the 8 phases. You appreciate that you need to brief us about that. But why was there load shedding on Sunday, for example, where you would expect low demand? Is it just a culmination of circumstances that you've tried to explain? And then just looking at your annual report where you indicated this little booklet, as at March, you indicate you already there were concerned about coal stocks. This is 31st of March up to then. normalized coal stock levels, etc., etc. I'm reading from page 86. 7 power stations below the minimum stock levels. You refer to 37 days. Recovery efforts have been impacted by low delivery from the Tegeta mines, which are in business rescue. Now we know the whole story of Tegeta. We know that. We know the state capture. We know the contracts that were moved where I connected the dots, where contracts were cancelled and moved to Arnott. Now we said with Arnott not having enough coal. So, Chair, I want to ask specifically, when it comes to Arnott, those contracts that were cancelled with Exxaro, with Mafube, conveyor belts, is there no chance that mine that was closed, Matila mine, with the loss of 1,600 jobs, is there no chance of recovering those contracts that were providing reliable coal to Arnott, which is, according to your slide, presented, is it 20% or something of our energy, but a substantial amount. That is all part of state capture. Those contracts were cancelled. There was a conveyor belt that was supplying. What is being done to look at those supplies? And I suppose they've already now, they're selling overseas. That would be the answer. The second issue is 2 conveyor belts that are flying, that are supposed to be providing coal to Hendrina, that are, according to the minister, stationary. These are just isolated incidents of issues relating to a general problem with coal, and we know it is related to rain. But here, in this report, you say coal security is not considered at risk. This is at 31st of March. We are working with National Treasury on ways to expedite the coal procurement process. That is at 31st of March, your report then. And it's concerning to me that we're now sitting with load shedding,